what we are having a look at here is a Royal Windyne Supreme Windyne ceiling fan. So Royal Windyne being the company, Supreme Windyne being the model of this particular fan. So this is quite the interesting fan. This popped up on Facebook Marketplace, so I went and got it as soon as it popped up, as you can imagine. So essentially what this is, it's a dressed up K63 blender fan, pretty much. So this company, Royal Windyne, bought a bunch of K63 blender fans and dressed them up and sold them for a much higher price. So it's pretty neat. It's very well built, that's for sure. And this one's in amazing condition. So all I did to it was clean it and put new bearings in it. Otherwise, it didn't really need anything. I also put that tassel on there because it originally would have had a, I believe, 20-inch pull chain on there with a tassel on the end, but it was missing. So I added this one. It's a lot shorter than it originally would have been, but I find it kind of nicer that way anyway. So, a loud ass car just went by. Let's get a close-up of this thing. It's very tough to get my camera out of this thing. So there's the tassel. And it was actually cut so short. That's the extension I added. Like 2 beads coming out of there. That's how short it was. Ridiculous how they cut it that short. Got the blades here. Y brackets. So this is a Supreme Windyne, and then they also had the regular Windyne, which is essentially the same exact thing, but you know, it had a standard canopy and none of that stuff going on up there. But this gold plated, whatever that is up there, was still there. So it was almost the same thing. Canopy was a little different. See, it's a K63 motor in there. I don't have anything to hold the canopy up. Pretty neat. The speeds go high, off, low, off. So we'll start with low. I also oiled that switch because it was a little rough. So another collector has sent me the catalog for these fans. So I'll show the catalog at the end of the video. It's very interesting. They also sold pendant lights, clocks, and table lamps. So that's quite interesting. So I will show all of that at the end of the video. I believe they also came in 53 inches with these fans. This one is the 39-inch model. Low speed is clearly quite fast. So what Royal Windyne did when they bought the heat fans from Emerson, they basically just painted it. So didn't look like this. It wasn't this color when they bought it from Emerson. They put like this blackish, very dark brown type of black paint. Painted the flywheel and the motor and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, they also painted over the capacitor for whatever strange reason. So I have no idea what the capacitor values are. I assume it's just gonna be what a regular blender fan takes. So they painted over that even though it's underneath that lower canopy, which doesn't really make any sense to me. Bring up the high speed now. Quite powerful, as you'd expect. The interesting thing is in the catalog and everything, every light kit that you could get with these had its own name, which is quite interesting. Like, you could get a 3-arm light kit. I believe that light kit was called the Victoria, and then you could get single fitters. So it was literally, you could only get either a 3-way light kit or 3-arm or a single fitter, but they all had their own names depending on what glass you got with them, which is pretty interesting. I'll go ahead and shut it off now. There was also something else I wanted to say about this, but I forget now. Oh, I remember now. Apparently, from what I know, is these were custom order, or not custom order somewhat, but these were not mass produced as far as I know. I believe they were handmade only when ordered. So you ordered one and they handmade it. And they were about $500 a piece when you bought these fans. And according to another collector and everything in today's dollars, that's around $2 grand. So these were quite expensive. But let me go and let's look at that catalog now. Alright, so here I have the catalog pictures pulled up. This is the front cover here. If you want to read it, you can pause it. And these are these two different versions I was talking about. Regular Windyne, Supreme Windyne. See, the regular is more basic. So fancy blender fan and more fancy blender fan. And I'm pretty sure that is still plated. I'm almost certain. I'm not even really sure. So these were their different light kit names. So the Victoria is the 3-arm light. And then all the rest are just single fitters, but each globe had a name, I guess. The Windsor, the Globe, the Chelsea, and the Flame. Got some pretty interesting names there. And they also sold table lamps. The Royal Globe, the Lady Astor, the Royal Rose, more table lamps, a Churchill, the Duke of Marlborough, the Oxford, and the Royal Flame. It's pretty cool in my opinion. And the last two, the Duke of Wellington and the Cambridge. And there's your order form. And they sold clocks as well. And that pendant light. So you had the 3 clocks, you had the figure 8, you had the Winthrop, and you had the Clermont. And then that's an ad right there. And that right there is the larger version. So I have the 39-inch, and I think that's 52, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they had 39 and 53, so I have a 39-inch, and that right there is a 53-inch. So, yeah, it's just pretty much that. That's the Royal Windyne catalog.